Universe Rep, a team that people were expecting for the 7th anniversary because of the Ultra MUI theory, but that's pretty much out the window, has now risen to the top of the game. If you aren't using this team, it's gonna be quite hard to overcome people in PvP. So much so that the DAIMA team has seemed to phase out. Not to say that the DAIMA team isn't anywhere near good, but for now, it's nowhere near the most popular team to run, and because of that, it's gonna be less common. But a question for you guys: do you guys think Universe Rep has actually surpassed the Dragon Ball DAIMA team? Not referring to their prime, but right now. We gotta discuss, how did Universe Rep become so powerful in Dragon Ball Legends? Let's get into this. So like with any team in Dragon Ball Legends, the team doesn't just become #1 out of the blue. It requires a bit of investment, even if it's just one banner. But with Universe Rep, given that the developers obviously planned to make it the headlining team for the 7th anniversary, they had to get the seeds ready. So that means they had to do some prep work and build up some things that already exist to make the team run optimally. For this, we're gonna have to go back to 2024. And although this is not the most relevant piece, for the Universe Rep fans, you guys will know. The first piece getting ready to make Universe Rep good: Ultra Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku's platinum equipment. This unit hadn't been used for maybe 2 years, but when he did release, he was one of the most annoying units in Dragon Ball Legends' history. The thing about him is, he stops you from playing the game because when he switches in, he's able to seal your strike arts. And typically, the most dominant meta team will be strike oriented, so because of that, the enemy won't be able to play. He's also able to do a lot of damage through his blast arts, and even though this platinum equipment was poorly timed, it's something that exists and is quite usable today. I've used them myself, so I know that for sure. But now we can get into the current timeline, the things that actually matter, and there's 3 pieces that I want to mention specifically. The first one is MVP 17's platinum equipment. Now at first, this had more utility on androids, but androids, which I've posted a video about, which didn't seem to get their feet off the ground. Ultra Cell was there, but beyond that, the team couldn't just form together and become a very meta dominant team. Not saying it was bad, but of course, nowhere near top tier. So without a doubt, the core intention was for MVP 17 to be attributed to Universe Rep. In Universe Rep's initial launch, MVP 17 was a major role player in making sure the team in the 5th anniversary was #1. And the developers are very well aware of that, because in this celebration, the 7th anniversary, they also brought back the captain of Universe Rep in their initial launch during the 5th anniversary, Go Frieza, giving them a platinum equipment also. If we're talking about a time gap, MVP 17 got his platinum equipment earlier this year, and Go Frieza got their platinum equipment much closer to the 7th anniversary. But it should go without saying that these 2 units were wreaking havoc in the 5th anniversary, making them easily the biggest factors for why Universe Rep was so dominant in their initial prime. But now they're having a second prime, and these 2 units have made a comeback in preparation for round 2. But if that wasn't enough, here comes the third piece, which I know I haven't explained this in order, but I felt this was the best way to go about it. Zenkai Android 18. Post 5th anniversary, MVP 17 wasn't performing the best, and a lot of people felt that he was lackluster, and a big reason for that is that he didn't have any Zenkai buffs. He was one of the most dominant units running off pure fumes, his own talent, and that's what made him so exceptional. If they gave him a Zenkai buff that early, he would have been outperforming the whole game for a ridiculously long time, and I think it's one of the best decisions that the developers made to not give him a Zenkai buff. They really held back on it. He does have a Zenkai buff available, but it's a miniature one, so it's not as good. Android 21. But them giving Android 18 a Zenkai this year means that Android 17 will be able to thrive in the same capacity as the units that drop in this modern era of Dragon Ball Legends. So it brought him up to speed with his kit already being able to keep up with the rest of the game. He just needed the stat padding to give him that security alongside the rest of Universe Rep. This is the beginning of how Universe Rep solidified their foundation. Now let's move on to the core of the Universe Rep team this 7th anniversary. It should go without saying we got the 2 headliners. MUI Goku, a transforming unit looking beautiful, alongside SSBE Vegeta, also a transforming unit that looks beautiful. Blue and purple, these 2 units are the main fighting force, allowing you to build your Universe Rep team either way, speaking strike oriented or blast oriented. Vegeta being on the blast side and MUI Goku being on the strike side, but also we all know that MUI Goku is just just much better than SSBE Vegeta, which just leads to more people using the strike version of Universe Rep. So I think it's very important to talk about the success of the Sparkings that we've got this 7th anniversary. We've got Kale and Caulifla, and on the other side, we've got Kaba. Something which isn't always the case, the developers have shown great awareness with the Sparkings they've decided to attach to each banner. So if you summon for LLSSBE Vegeta, you'll be probably getting the Sparking Kaba as well, and he's very integral if you want to make Vegeta look good. But with MUI Goku, Kale and Caulifla, even though I wouldn't say they're as valuable to making MUI Goku look good because he is already insane by himself, they are still very much so great alongside him, especially if you don't have any of the pieces that I mentioned prior. Having this Sparking that has two elements, green and yellow, is very much so amazing. Let's also consider that yellow is a very good element to be paired with blue because blue protects yellow from reds. And in that same way I mentioned with Vegeta and Kaba, Kaba is red, and red is very good with purple because red protects purple from yellows. So in terms of elements, the developers did a great job in pairing these characters together, and in terms of their attacking type, it also has made the most sense to put them together the way the developers have. Now we're all aware of what SSBE Vegeta and MUI Goku do because they're the headliners, so they have the most attention. But I really want to emphasize that it's very important that the Sparkings they released had been good. If they wasn't, the team wouldn't mold together as well as it is. So let's talk about Kaba for starters. With both of the new units having endurance, none of them cancel buffs, which is unfortunate. But Kaba is here to save the day because he is able to cancel buffs given that a Rising Rush goes off, Awakened, or Ultimate Arts. And this can happen twice. He can also reduce sub counts by 6, which means that he'd be able to switch out to SSBE Vegeta or MUI Goku, and because the enemy's buffs were cancelled, their endurance will save the day. So pairing any of the new characters with Kaba is very valuable. But if we look to Kale and Caulifla, they are green and yellow, which I already spoke about being very valuable for numerous reasons, but just having two elements gives you one extra element on your team where normally you'd be color counted because it's a 3v3 game. But when you have a tag unit that has two elements, your team has access to 4 elements, which is one more than your opponent would usually have. Also something that's super useful, Kale and Caulifla have access to a combo break which destroys the enemy's cards. This could be very helpful in getting you out of a jam, as there are still units that can do crazy combos. If not crazy combos, they're going to do a lot of damage, and you want that combo to end as soon as possible so you can get back into action and hopefully get a priority on the enemy. Diving further into the value of Sparkings, in the success of any major team in Dragon Ball Legends, Sparkings have been a very integral part of how the team works. If I just mention some for the sake, we recently had the Dragon Ball DAIMA team, and we see that Majin Q, literally everybody hates him, and that's because he's too viable on the team. Having that much utility as a regular Sparking is crazy. And if I mention another team, we can talk about the Blue Beast Gohan team with Future Gohan and Pan. Red Pan being able to spawn a green and a blue card and lower sub count so consistently while also supporting their team through giving them damage buffs makes her too valuable for the rotation of buffs and getting people in and out to break combos. Almost every team that sees success has a major Sparking. It's not 100% true, but in a lot of cases, if not most, it's the case. So the success of these two units, I really have to emphasize that they had a big impact on the meta right now with Universe Rep success. Now at this point, the team is pretty much solidified, but there's still conversations of Dragon Ball DAIMA being the best team just because of how solid their main trio is. This doesn't change the fact that Universe Rep could be argued as the best team, but I think the developers really didn't like that being the case. So things were slapped into Overdrive. During all of this, Rev UI Zenkai had already been in the conversation, but he didn't release instantly. And of course, it takes a while to get him to Zenkai 7 for everybody. It takes 2 weeks to be exact, as you have to do the daily logins unless you spend Chrono Crystals. So to even see the full potential of Rev UI in ranked PvP, that hasn't been completely unleashed yet, and he's doing major numbers. So he's the first step to driving Universe Rep into Overdrive, making sure that they are the undisputed #1 team in the game. But the developers really said, we have one more bomb to drop. And here we see the platinum equipment of Ultra Hit. Ultra Hit is a crazy one-trick pony, and I don't say that to downplay him in any way, shape or form. He literally is the one-trick pony of all one-trick ponies. It's a huge reason why he phased out when he released initially, but he was in his prime for a long time, because if that time skip hits you, you are dead. There's no way out of it, and it's not difficult to land if we're being completely honest. honest, it just so happens that a lot of Dragon Ball Legends players aren't good enough to consistently land it. But if that hits you, you are dead. He does extra damage to blues to make sure that that damage goes straight through you. Even though he's nerfed in general damage, his ultimate does excessive damage during that time skip, and you can't move. But giving him this platinum equipment, they've basically revived him into prime state, and people have been propelling him immediately into top 3 characters in the game conversations. And I think that says a lot for itself. Having a unit that can guaranteed kill you, the time skip is a lot more accessible because of the green card spawn. Only naturally, this unit is going to be a top contender in the game. Universe rep was already solid. They've got MVP 17, they've got MUI Goku, SSB Vegeta, Kalen Caulifla, Kaba, Rev UI, a revival unit with Ultra Instinct, 2 Ultra Instinct units in one meta, and then you want to stack Ultra Hit on top. How greedy. This team has just ascended into a Super Saiyan. They've got all the Chaos Emeralds, they've got Alien X on the Omnitrix, because not just in damage potential, but defense potential, you can't break through this team, and they are going to cut through you like it was nothing. There's not much more to say about Ultra Hit, as the final piece making it very difficult to play against. The time skip hits, you lose a unit. MUI Goku, he can do 80% of your health without pressing an arts card just because he can dodge. And his green card counter, it's a guaranteed blue card snipe. That's ridiculous. Then you got the revival UI. Let's say you get him to revive. Now you got 2 UIs on the battlefield. And let's say they're using Kalen Caulifla. They're gonna break your combo and there'll be type advantage in one way or another because they have 2 elements. And let's say you wanted to rush. Hey, Kaba's an option too. So the buffs are gonna get cancelled and somebody's gonna take that. And just to give Vegeta some props, if we get him to level 3, it's gonna take God to do that, I'm not gonna lie. He's permanently nullifying endurance. You thought you was gonna live that blue card? Nah, man. You're going down. The team has options in every way, shape or form, and the precision of how this team was developed is very much so perfect. That's going to make the end of the video. Universe Rep has really climbed to the top, and in my opinion, I think they are the undisputed best team in the game, but I'll leave it up to you guys in the comment section. I do see DAIMA here and there, but the team doesn't hold up as strong as it used to. Offensively, they're still good and they're still annoying to deal with, but I feel like I can slice through them with Universe Rep a lot easier than I would have with any other team that existed before the 7th anniversary started. But part 2 is soon, so let's see if things will change. But hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you haven't already, make sure to press the subscribe button. We're on this grind to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. My name is Zakashi, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man.